Sue's got a new space. Ahoy there, and welcome to another episode of the Let's Get Kraken podcast. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. Welcome to the new area. If you are a new viewer, hi, I'm Eden. I'm the owner of Kraken MAID, where I sell handmade progress keepers, hand-dyed yarn, my own pattern signs. You can find me on Instagram as crafting Kraken MAID. You can also find me and my patterns on Lovecrafts and Payhip. So yeah, welcome to the new area, the permanent, for now, podcast filming area. It is just, it hits that Pirates of the Caribbean style that I was looking for. I've got my new chair that I worked really hard on, and I did this watercolor map myself and roughed it up, lit it on fire, maybe got a little carried away. A huge part of it was done by my husband, who did like this wood finish in here. He painted, I assisted in painting, and helped me put the new fabric in the chair. I will have some like behind the scenes videos coming out on the channel soon of making the chair and the work that went into this little cove. So, yeah, there's going to be lots to talk about, and I've got some finished objects, I've got some works in progress, I've got a coffee in my perfectly themed mug, and I guess I should talk about what I'm wearing. I haven't worn this in so long. Just get comfortable here. And I would like to say, through all this fanciness, I am wearing Friends themed sweatpants underneath. So, keeping it a little normal. I've just got a coffee in here, and I'm getting my mug lipstick stained. Didn't even think about that, but whatever. What I'm wearing. So I just leaning back, getting comfy, ready to talk about all things. So, this is a top that I took the raglan increases. It was called the Piece of Silver. Can't remember who designed it, but it was in a Lina magazine. And it was a turtleneck sweater that I completely threw out all the things that made it that sweater, and I just used the raglan increases. It was one of the first things I ever knit. It's a fingering weight sweater. I knit this out of a colorway by Smith & U. I can't remember the name of the colorway, but I remember that it was Smith & U. That's Smith and then EWE. It's really pretty. It's blues and grays. I love the way it pooled. I know a lot of people aren't a fan of pooling, but I thought this was just so cool. Yeah, but I pulled it out to see if it was something I would wear again more often. The only trouble is, when I knit this, I had no idea that a stretchy bind off existed. Like, it was that early on in my knitting time, and so I just did a regular bind off, and it is so tight. I could take it off and redo the cast off, but I'm sure my gauge is entirely different now. I might just give it to a smaller human and just knit another one, something like this. I wouldn't do the exact same thing I did last time, but maybe a different pattern, because summer's coming up and I do enjoy making brain fart, need coffee, wearing knitted t-shirt style things. So that's what I'm wearing. I'm not wearing any other knits. So let us get cracking at some finished objects. Okay, so my first finished object, it has not been blocked like I said I would, but I just put this together this morning because it was just like, hey, do you remember me? I want to be done. So this is my Advent project that I am so happy with. So last time I dumped this information, if you're a new viewer, I've been talking about this for a while. This is my Advent project from 2022. For 2 years now, Amy Kate of the Graceful Tangle and I have been trading scrap Advent calendars. So near the end of the year, in December, usually I send mine off in November. Anyway, doesn't really matter. We send each other 24 scraps of either fingering weight minis. I might give her a DK one this year, depending on how much DK I make, or crate. 24 minis, usually fingering weight, and then 1 whole skein. And we trade our scraps to make something for Advent. And we wrap it up all nice. So here's mine. I made this shawl out of, well, obviously the Advent yarn. I just knit the full mini, oh my goodness, my brain. I can't even just get there. We'll make it through, I'll get better as I keep talking. I'm so out of practice. I crocheted 2 granny triangles, holding it double with a SURI. I believe it's in here. It's this SURI. It's a hand-dyed SURI alpaca that I dyed. Just a light gray. I would like to dye this for the shop. I had actually attempted to dye this for the shop and it turned out completely different. I'll talk about that later. Yeah, I held it double with all of the minis and I made 2 triangles, the exact same. And then what I did was, so you can see, oh dear, here we go. This is the starting point. You see that little bit gray there and it goes up. That's 1 triangle. And the starting point for this one is over here. That goes up. So I sewed right there, if you can see where it connects, and it creates this kind of wonky rectangle, which it is kind of like, why would you want a shawl that shape? But you don't really notice it. Once you put it on, like you wrap it around yourself like a blanket, it feels super nice and it's really cozy. And I don't even care that it's a little awkward. I think I'm just going to wear this the rest of the podcast. I keep looking at myself and thinking, oh, you look so cozy. Oh dear. I love it. And yeah, so it's finally done. It just needs to be blocked. And I might try to take out some of the awkward shaping. Like if I take the points and give it a little bit of a pull, it'll take that triangle part away and it should be fine. Or you can just roll it up. Give yourself some extra coziness around the neck, which I do need to keep warm. I'm just going to wear this the rest of the podcast. I'm super happy for it to be done though. I would totally do this again. I really would. I think that's all I have to say. Oh, I used... Oh dear, I forget the crochet hook. I believe I used a size 4mm crochet hook. I believe. I'll probably say down below if I did or not. And that's my Advent project. Sorry if you're shaking. Just put my coffee down there. Oh, look how fuzzy that is. And I love the scrappy projects. I'm finding right now that scrappy projects are just the thing I want to work on the most. Except for some sweaters, which I'll get into next. My next finished object is a really huge accomplishment. I finished my very first sweater design sample. Computer's dying. Here it is. Ah! So this is the Implexis sweater. Implexis is Latin for intertwined. This reminds me of the cables. So yes, this is my very first sweater design. It is going to be going into testing very, very soon. I've got the pattern all written up. Just got some little details left to do, and I'll be ready. It's a very boxy sweatshirt style sweater that will just engulf you and keep you so cozy. I knit this out of my own hand-dyed yarn. Sorry. In Whirlpool DK, the main color here is chocolate, and then the contrast color is Little Cuttlefish. I don't have Little Cuttlefish in the shop anymore, but I do have a new colorway called Mermaid Kisses that is a little bit mauvier than this, but still very pretty. I think it would go very well with chocolate to do the same thing. Or any colors you want. The Whirlpool DK is a 2-ply non-superwash merino, 1-ply superwash merino. So it's a mix of that super softness of the superwash, and the non-superwash is super light and airy, but still keeps you really warm and cozy. And it's not scratchy at all. It's like the best of both worlds. And it blocks out beautifully. It doesn't like stretch double in size when it's blocked, and it will just keep you so nice and warm. So this is a design that I hope will come out soon, hopefully before summer comes. That's the goal. There's still tons of spring left, and I guess I should talk about it. The construction is actually super fun. It is knit from the bottom front. As you can see, I didn't weave in that end. Whoops. It's knit flat all the way at the front. You do your shoulders, and then you knit flat all the way down. Then you seam up the sides. And I know seaming isn't everybody's jam. But what's nice about this is I didn't seam this up all fancy. I didn't mattress stitch this at all. I just went in and just sewed up the side. Come on, phone. You can do it. There we go. See that? When you look at it, you're like, oh, that kind of looks weird. But then you let it go, and you would never know. That marling just hides your seam up. So don't trouble yourself with an overly complicated seaming. That's the nice thing about this yarn, is it hides it really nicely. You seam up the sides, you pick up for sleeves, you knit this nice cozy sleeve on the other side, and then you do your neckband, and you're done. It was a really fast knit, and I found that I really enjoy knitting my sweaters flat. Oh, there's a hair. Just flew right on me. I used size 4.5 millimeter needles for the body and size 4 millimeter needles for the cuff. The sizes US 6 and 7, I believe. But your gauge might be different and need different needles. But yeah, that pattern is on the go. It's going to go into testing soon, so keep an eye out on Instagram for tester call. I actually do have a Ravelry. I don't have it linked in this podcast right now because I want to get all my patterns onto Ravelry before I really show off my Ravelry page and get that going. And this will probably help kick that off. So I might host a testers group on Ravelry. But it's most likely I'm going to announce it on Instagram, and then we'll go from there. Actually, I'm getting really toasty in this. This alpaca is super warm. I'm just going to throw it on my lap. Those are my finished objects. Now we go into works in progress. And I'll do a very simple one. First, this has been my purse knitting, mostly when I'm out of the house. And just the other day I brought it into the house so that I could do my heel flap and gusset. It's all done. So this is just a vanilla sock using some opal. The opal I carry in the shop right now is on sale for $12, I believe, which is pretty nice. I'm trying to get it out of the shop because I would like to get a different brand. Opal is an incredible workhorse yarn. You know that you could knit a pair of socks out of this and it's going to last a while. However, it's not as soft as I remember it to be. It has been changed somehow. I think the nylon content that is in it, whatever nylon they use, they changed it. It could be recycled nylon now, which good for them, or it's just a different type, but it feels like you can feel the bits of plastic in there. That nylon is super scraggly. Like I've had 100% wool softer than this. So if you would like a really easy, and they're pretty, but they're not as soft as they used to be. So if you're okay with a non-soft sock yarn and you want like a sock that will last a very long time, this is a great yarn for that. I'm gonna sip my coffee, hang on. Also, I'm taller than when I made this shirt, so it's a little cropped. I don't often wear crop tops. There it is. It's in a cake now because as a travel ball of yarn, it was getting really beat up. So I, with the help of my mom, got recaked. It's really pretty. So this is a true and loyal friend. It's making a really pretty light blue with some beige, gray stripes, and some darker blue. It's really fun. I love knitting up opal yarns and watching it just create the most pretty patterns. So it's just a vanilla sock. I did a heel flap and gusset, and I'm just going, well, I haven't done the gusset. I did a heel flap, and I'm just starting my gusset decreases. I'm knitting this on size 2.25 millimeter needles, US ones, yes, I remembered this time, US ones, and my progress keeper to keep track of the very beginning of my row. Oh, isn't that fun how it just, I love being able to zoom in on things. This was a progress keeper in the 12 Days of Christmas at Sea, and this is a watercolor progress keeper that was in that series last Christmas. So it's a boat with Christmas lights, and it's sparkly. Oh, it just makes me so happy. This is my just simple vanilla sock. I'll link a couple of vanilla sock patterns down below if you want a pattern to follow. I just do 64 stitches, knit 40 rows for my leg, about 18 rows for my cuff, and regular slip stitch, heel flap and gusset. And then I think I'm going to try a balloon toe on this one. Might be fun. I found that feels very comfortable on my foot. And I've just got it in my So Crazy Crafter bag. Espresso Patronum. Okay, next up is actually something that I didn't expect to put so much work into. Oh, come on. It's a long way down. Wow, no. Hang on a moment. I have to take this in halves. So if you remember, if you are a longtime viewer, I started crocheting granny squares, and I crocheted a lot of them. These are all fingering weight granny squares. I am using a 2.5 millimeter hook, and I could take you through all of them, but there are about 47 now, so that's a lot. I made some out of all the scraps from socks and hats, and if it's fingering weight, it's gone into here. I've got some scraps that I just got from somebody else. I've actually got one. Here it is. Brittany of Crux Fibers made me to add to the collection. This is a 10, oh, come on. Each square is about 10 rows, so it makes 10 bumps at the end. Measures about 5¼ inches across, unblocked. And I've just been making a stack of these, and I didn't want to make a granny square blanket. They are amazing, but I think a fingering weight one is just too light. I wouldn't be attracted to using it because when you, like this, when you want a blanket, you want it to be thick and soft and cozy. This one wouldn't do that for me. So what I decided I want to do, I want to make a dress out of these, and not just any dress. I want to make, I hope to make a ball gown, which is insane. I don't know why I thought that would be a good idea, but it makes my brain excited. And I don't know if anybody else does this, but when you pick a word for the year to kind of remember and use in your everyday life, I chose the word wholeheartedly, because last year I found I was giving up too easily when it came to larger projects, and I would have never accomplished something like this or even wanted to. This year I wanted to push forward and do more and put my whole heart and mind into a project and do every detail. So this podcast, I hope, will become a little bit more, and that goes for my projects too. So I want to attempt a ball gown with this. I still need, I'm at 47. I did the math. I would need like 96 squares, I believe. So I'll just keep puttering along. I'm running out of scraps in the sense that I wanted each square to be unique and different, and I do one square out of each color. I might not have to be that picky because I am running out of colors. I don't know. What do you think? Should I just suck it up and make more of the same color, or just, it'll just take longer. It's not like I don't have that many colors of fingering weight yarn, at least in my stash right now. I like to use that hank or a bunch of skeins before I make a square out of them. I don't know if I'm being picky or not. Maybe. But that's a project that I'm just gonna, whoa! Nearly dropped them in my coffee. I don't know. I just got them in here. I think I have, got here, 1, 2, 3, 6. I've got 7 more colors in here. And the hook I've been using, my husband got me, last Christmas he got me a set, not Christmas, for my birthday he got me a set. I believe I showed them off. Yeah, so 2.5 millimeter crochet hook. It's got a nice rubber handle, and it's tiny. I have another one here that I just put a polymer clay handle on. The camo form, which is also very comfortable. So I have 2, just in case if I put one down on a couch or something and lose it, like it just enters through a vortex of some kind. It's ready. Just keep it in this bag. I don't remember who made this, but I remember it was a collaboration between K-Zip Knits and Puzzle Tree Yarns, and then somebody made a bag. I don't remember. have a tag in here? No. Oh well. Okay. Oh hey, there's more. I missed some. Oh no. Computer's turning off. There we go. Some more hiding in there. Oh, I love that color. How fun is that? Going to the stack. Okay. Next works in progress are more blankets. More blankets. Well, I haven't really talked about any blankets yet, but anyway. I seem to have a lot. So we'll start with the one I'm all cut up on. So this is My Favorite Blanket by Kay Jones of the Bakery Bears. She's doing it's kind of like a mystery knit along on the Bakery Bears podcast, where you get a section every month they're trying to do. Right now it's every other week, but you have 12 sections, and each section uses about 100 gram skein of fingering weight yarn held double, or 2 50-gram fingering weight skeins held double, or you could use a DK. But I've been holding fingering weights together. So right here I've got a mix of 2 that were a homespun house. Woo! And there's 2 here that were Tofino Knit Co. in the House Moving Castle set. This one was Calcifer and one was Howl. And here I've got a mix of Tofino Knit Co., I believe. One was from her Hocus Pocus, that's giving these pops of orange and cream. The other was a plain red. That was from Tofino Knit Co. I don't remember what it's called. But I had a bunch of 50-gram skeins that I had no idea what I was going to do with, because usually 50-gram sets aren't quite big enough for me to do a pair of socks. So they're going into these, which is awesome. Put that there. And then my second one, I'm kind of trying to do a mix of warm colors, so pinks, yellows, reds, oranges. What else is warm? Brown, creams. Get those colors, the warm-sided colors, I'm putting into this blanket, and in this one, I'm throwing my greens, blues, blacks, grays, are cool colors. And I'm just on section 3. So far 3 sections have been released. This was Knit Picks Hawthorne, the colorway Vancouver, held double. This one was a mix of a Tofino Knit Co. Tweed, which is the turquoise color, and then the Cinderella colorway by Dragon Horde Yarn. Next one, I'm holding another Knit Picks Hawthorne, held double. I don't remember what colorway this is, but it's a beautifully light green. I don't remember. I don't have the ball band for it anymore. I probably could look it up. Or you could look it up, whichever. I'll look it up. I'll put it down here. Don't worry. You don't have to do it. I'm just keeping it in a bag my mom made me. This is beautiful vintage florals fabric. It's huge and it holds both blankets perfectly. So I'm just puttering away on those. I'm knitting it on size 4.5 millimeter needles, US 7s, I think. And it's been really fun. I am really enjoying the garter. There's supposed to be more to it. There will be more to it eventually, but right now I'm perfectly happy just knitting garter. Got one work in progress left. And that, certainly at least, oh dear, there's a lot of stuff going on here. So, this is my Winter Wood Sweater by the Petite Knitter. Knits? No, it's the Petite Knitter, not Petite Knits. I always want to clarify that every time I say it. So the yoke is done, and it's got a little bit of body going. I'm almost done the first sleeve. I put a progress keeper for every decrease so that I wouldn't lose track of how many decreases I had to do. And there were 16. I think there's actually 14 on there right now because I didn't need to keep track of the first and last. But I've just started the color work on the cuff. It's almost done. This has been a sweater, a little bit of a labor of love. I really enjoyed it. It's going to be so cozy to wear. It's going to be a little bit oversized, I think, because it's 100% superwash, so it's going to grow a little bit. And it just, I love that pop of yellow, gray, and black. It just it makes me so happy. So I'm knitting this on size 4mm needles. The whole thing. It's called to do just everything on the same size needle. And I've got my other sleeve ready to go. I've got my body just sitting there for now because I thought I'd get the sleeves done. The yellow is Over the Moon yarn in the color Vega in their worsted weight base. The black is Sweet Georgia, the color Cauldron, I think, pretty sure. And then the gray is actually a mix of two grays because I ran out. You can kind of see that little bit of change right there. I used Ginger Snap, that in their Tweed DK. The black is a worsted weight too, and then the yellow is a worsted weight. It's a worsted weight sweater, but the gray is a DK. And it is a DK tweed from Ginger Snap in the color Silver Lining, I think. Again, don't have a ball band, but somewhere in my head it says Silver Lining. Then the second is an unnamed gray from Dragon Horde Yarn. Where'd you go? Ran away on me. And it's just a really pretty DK tweed. I don't mind mixing the worsted and DK because of it being superwash. They kind of come out to the same thickness. They come out to the same gauge, and so it doesn't make a huge difference. But this is how much I have left from the sleeve. And this was one hank of yarn, which is awesome. So that will give me another hank for the other sleeve, and then 2 hanks for the body, which should give me a perfectly good sized sweater. And there's the black. It kind of looks very navy blue in this lighting, but it's a black. I'm just doing my sleeve magic loop. All right, so that is all that I've been working on. I wanted to show you some yarns that are going into the shop this week. First, I'll show you the yarn that I've dyed up, and it's a new colorway going into the shop that I will be using for my next Implexis sweater. I will be knitting a second one, kind of test knitting my own pattern to make sure that I wrote out all the details that I wanted to. My contrast color is going to be First Mate, which is my gorgeous, it's like a really rosy red. But that strand is just a little bit darker. I love it. Then the main color is going to be Piece of Silver. Well, I don't know if I'll call it Piece of Silver or call it a shilling. Maybe. You'll see in the shop. I'm going to put it out this Friday. I'll put what date that is down below. But together, they just make such a fun combination. I really wanted a light gray that would, I'm sorry, just zooming out back and forth. You can see that little bit of marling. It's just so nice. They make a good pair, and it's going to be a lot of fun to knit up another one. So I hope to cast that on this week. Maybe I'll do that tonight. That'll be my treat. I really wanted to get my winter wood sweater together first, but I might just skip that and just go for it. At least I want to get the first cable and colorwork section done so that I know that that is good. The pattern is doing just fine. Okay, the other things that are going into the shop are some SURIs. So this is just me dipping my toes into the SURI ALPACA world. My first, I've got a really light brown with a mix of gold. This is Trusty Old Ship. It's just so nice. I'll put the actual content details right here because I did not look into it. I should know my own bases. It is a SURI alpaca and silk, I believe. So it's very, very, very soft. And this one is what was going to be this color, but I got cocky and added a little more blue than I was supposed to. I was adding the silver, and when I used the silver powder that I have, it goes purple. And so I used blue to make it a gray again. And I thought I would use a different blue this time. And that blue just overpowered it and made it like a very pale navy. And so I just went with it, and I think it's really fun. It's got a little bit of purple tones here and there. It's a nice dark blue. I say, like, it's so many different shades. Pale navy is the best way I can describe it, because it is that navy blue jeans, but it's spent a summer doing adventures, if that makes sense. I just love it. And I'm slightly tempted to steal it for myself. I don't know if I could recreate this because of the mistakes I made. I wrote down the recipe, but copying it is going to show if it is repeatable or not. So if you're interested in getting some SURI, keeping cozy, those two will be going into the shop this weekend. And then, I totally forgot to talk about this. These are acquisitions. I'm going to throw in a little acquisitions at the end. So last holiday season, my mom ordered for her and I some Little House on the Prairie Christmas sets from the Bluebird yarn. And our post office hadn't done forward mail for packages. We didn't know that that was a thing now, that you can't forward a package when you move. So what happened was all our packages got returned to the sender. This yarn was one of them. Luckily, I forgot to check her name, but the owner of Bluebird Yarn was so sweet and sent it again for us. And it is so pretty. So we have here Christmas in the Big Woods. Oh, it's just so beautiful. Those colors, those speckles. I don't know what I want to make with this, but I want to use it. I want to see how those colors go. And then this is Cranberry Garland. How sweet is that? I love these. So those go right into the stash and will definitely be used for something. If you have any suggestions, I don't know if I want to knit these as socks. I might knit a pair of socks out of this one because I think those pops of color would do beautiful pooling in that tight round. This one I'm not so sure. Do you have any one skein fingering weight projects that would go good with that? Do let me know. So those are acquisitions that go into my stash. Okay, and last thing I wanted to talk about for the shop actually is something. This is something that is in the shop and is different. So last year I decided that I was going to stop making Paul Clay progress keepers just because I wasn't as interested in it as I used to be. Oh, mohair. Not mohair. Alpaca. It's floating through the air. I can feel it dust my nose. Hopefully I'm not smudging my lipstick. I can't see it. Was I stopped doing Polymer Clay Progress Keepers. I did enjoy them, but I find now that I love doing watercolor Progress Keepers more. That's something that I wanted to put more effort into. And doing polymer clay and resin and painting was just too much to do at once, on top of designing and yarn dyeing, so I decided to cut back the polymer clay. And in here, in my little treasure chest, is a mix of all the polymer clay. I've got some resin Progress Keepers in there. I've got some beads that just never really found a home. But this is a part of the mystery scoop listing that is in the shop. So I've got some knitted ones. I've got some funny themed ones. It's a little starfish on there. I've got some skulls for my fellow Pirates of the Caribbean, or if you're a Halloween lover. We got like a little resin beer mug. Come on, do it. Look at it. Here we go. Yeah, there's lots of little things. I've got some bead ones in here. Just from over the past few years, I've collected a lot of Progress Keepers that just haven't found a home. So I created the mystery scoop to kind of have a little fun with them, and hopefully that they will make it to somebody who will adore them. I know for a lot of people, the hard thing about mystery scoops is that maybe you're going to get some that you're not going to like at all. But think about it that you could get a Progress Keeper that you won't like. However, you'll have a Progress Keeper that you could give to somebody as a gift who will like it, and it'll bring them joy. You kind of just pass it on to the next person. Kind of spread that love that the world is just needing. So there's an option to get a 3 Progress Keeper mystery scoop or a 5 Progress Keeper mystery scoop. And if you want, you can add on that I will film a reel for Instagram, if you are on Instagram, doing those mystery scoops and packing up your order, just for fun. Or you don't have to if you don't want to. But in here could be your next Progress Keepers. It's just a fun way to treat yourself, I think. I do love a good mystery. Okay, that is all the yarny content. But the last thing I do want to touch on is it started today that the Idea to Pattern workshop has begun. The Idea to Pattern workshop is hosted by Megan Nodecker of Pip and Pin, and she takes you through all the steps you need to become a designer. She'll take you through the idea and sketching it out and doing the math and doing a swatch so that you can refine that math and know what sizing you're doing, how to knit a sample, how to gauge or grade sizes, write out the pattern, release the pattern on multiple platforms. She gives instructions for everything. She has PDF instructions for you to follow and extra information. She is there every step of the way to answer any questions you may have. And in the end, you will have, where'd my sweater go? Here it is. You will have a design release. This is the thing that came out of my session in that workshop. I never thought that I would take on garment designing because it was something that I found extremely intimidating, especially grading sizes and making sure that it is a size inclusive pattern. I really wanted it to be size inclusive, but I had no idea how to do the math to get there or know how much yarn somebody would need that is a 2XL or something. Whereas I'm a medium, and that is a huge gap, and I had no idea how to do that. Megan helped me through and taught me how to do it. And I am so grateful for it. And you can become a designer too if you are interested in putting your toes in, or even if you don't want to design. I would highly recommend taking the course just to up your knitting skills, I guess is the best way to do it. All the tools in your knitting arsenal, in your mind, I guess is the best way to put it. Because if a pattern that you bought isn't working out, I have been able to use the skills that I learned in the course and fix it and change it and make it to fit my body better. So, if that interests you, the course or the workshop is now open. You can use the link down below to go and sign up, and you can use my code AF10, AF is for affiliate, to get 10% off. And I know that you will really enjoy it and you'll learn a lot. So if that's something that interests you, hop on over and get on it. Sign up goes from the 6th to the 10th, and course starts on the 13th. I remember. Okay. And that's how it goes. So if that interests you, go. Get over there. Go do it. Right now. Go. Yeah. Okay, I think that's all the yarny stuff to talk about. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. If you did, do consider subscribing and clicking that bell to receive notifications for every video that I post. I will be posting behind the scenes videos. I hope to start doing some extra content every other week between podcasts. So for the next little while, there'll be behind the scenes stuff. And comment down below, because I love hearing about you guys, what you're working on, where you're from. Introduce yourself if you're new. Okay, I think that's it. Yeah. Thanks for joining me, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.